Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Y&R Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The walls of Genoa City are closing in, and as Sienna Bacall's disintegrating falsehoods and Noah Newman's hidden truths clash with Matt Clark's perverse machinations, the tension has reached a fever pitch. In a startling change of events, Mitch, the man everyone believed to be long dead or possibly simply a ghost from the past, has reappeared with indisputable evidence that might ruin everything Sienna and Noah have worked so hard to hide. The Newman and Bacall families could be devastated by a revelation that could hit them like a hurricane this week. Nick and Sharon are waiting tensely for the doctors to take off Noah's bandages at the hospital, and there is a palpable sense of unease in the air. Although his physical wounds have healed in the weeks since the canyon collision that almost killed him, no one is aware of the depth of his emotional scars. Silently, Noah fidgets with the ends of T-face screaming for evidence explosion. Mitch exposes Sienna and Noah's dirty secrets. Noah remembers everything. His affair with Sienna revealed as Mitch strikes back. Police car light, Mitch drops proof. Sienna and Noah's crimes exposed in front of Nick. Broken heart. Noah's cheating memory returns. Sharon shocked, Sienna terrified. Fire. I remember now. Noah's bandages come off, and his affair destroys everything. Fearful face, Matt's revenge. Mitch unleashes evidence of Sienna and Noah's betrayal. Collision caught red-handed. Mitch's files expose Noah's affair and Sienna's lies. Loudly crying face, Nick snaps. He confronts Matt after Noah's secret comes to light. Drop of blood, bandages off, truth out. Noah's horrifying memory changes everything. Fire. You betrayed me too. Mitch's evidence destroys Sienna, and Noah breaks down. He hospital blanket as his thoughts race through broken memories of that evening, including Sienna's screaming voice, distant headlights, and an unexplained moment of treachery. Nick watches with a mixture of hope and terror in his eyes as Sharon reaches for the doctor's hand and whispers encouragement as he finally starts to unwind the gauze. Noah blinks as the light enters his eyes unhindered for the first time after the last bandage is removed. The room is filled with relief, but then something within of him jolts. It resembles a lightning strike ripping through his hazy recollection. He suddenly sees glimpses of himself in Sienna's arms, her murmuring promises, the two of them entangled in sheets laughing carelessly. They were more than just pals. It was a betrayal of everyone who trusted them, not just Matt. Noah's breathing becomes shallow and his entire body stiffens. What is it, honey? Sharon asks, softly pressing him as soon as she sees his distress. What is the issue? However, Noah shakes his head and tries to smile. Mom, it's nothing. He lies out of fear that the truth will ruin what little harmony his family still has. Just memories. With a folder in front of him and a storm building behind his icy eyes, Mitch Clark, or as everyone now knows him, Matt Clark in disguise, sits in a shadowy corner of the Genoa City Athletic Club. Everything is contained in that folder, including emails, hidden recordings, surveillance images, and even Sienna's fabricated documents that demonstrate her involvement in concealing the automobile accident and the affair that preceded it. Mitch has been playing the long game for months, giving Noah and Sienna the impression that he had vanished, while gathering the kind of proof that would destroy their entire universe. You thought you could fool me, Sienna? He murmurs to himself, grinning more broadly as he takes a sip of his drink. You assumed I would simply vanish. You forget, though, that I always complete what I begin. Nick Newman paces nervously back at the Newman Ranch after hearing from a club contact that Mitch has been causing trouble in the community once more. Nick slams his hand against the bar and growls. He's not supposed to be here. Nick's protective instincts take over when Sharon, who is always the voice of reason, tells him to remain cool, saying, if he's back, it means trouble. He has endured too much to allow one of his family's oldest adversaries, Matt Clark, to cause mayhem once more. Nick says without hesitation, if he's threatening my son, I'll handle him myself. He's not waiting for Victor's lawyer or the police. Nick is going to do things the Newman way. A far more subdued scene takes place at Jabot, as Kyle assists Harrison in packing his hockey equipment. A little respite from the mayhem elsewhere in Genoa City is provided by the father-son moment. Harrison beams and adds, I've got my game face on, Dad. While sporting a bright blue hockey jersey and holding his stick with pride, Kyle chuckles and touzles his son's hair, but when Harrison naively inquires, "Have you heard back from Claire yet?" the query pierces Kyle's brittle serenity. He takes out his phone and reads Claire's most recent message. "Tell Harrison I loved his costume," she says in a kind way. "You have no idea how much I miss you too." Kyle swallows forcefully, his heart contorting. He murmurs to Harrison, "She says she misses you." The boy's expression brightens. "When will she return?" Kyle's throat tightens as he hesitates. "I'm not sure, friend. But I hope it's soon," Diane says as she silently observes from the doorway, her face solemn. She turns to Jack as Kyle and Harrison leave. "Jack, he's in pain," she murmurs. For Harrison's sake, he acts as though he's okay, but he's not. Jack nods solemnly as he watches his son walk out the door. Losing Claire broke something in him. Jack responds, "He's an abbot. He will overcome it. However, it won't be simple." In other news, Nick's promise storm is on its way. Later that night, the argument erupts when he discovers Mitch hiding outside society. Nick squared up to him and spat. "You've got some nerve showing your face here." Mitch's grin never goes away. "Calm down, Newman. I'm only here to reveal a bit of the truth. Sienna and your son? They've been occupied. Very busy," he says, sliding a damning picture of Noah and Sienna together that was time-stamped prior to the collision across the table. Nick's anger grows as his jaw tightens. He snarls, "You set them up." With a cold tone, Mitch lunges forward. "Nick, no. They position themselves." Before Mitch can say anything more, Nick's fist strikes his jaw, sending him tumbling. "I'm just the messenger. Avoid my family at all costs," Nick yells. Mitch laughs bitterly as he wipes the blood from his lip. "One day, Newman, you'll thank me. Your beloved son is the antagonist in this situation, not me." Both men are hurt in the fight, but it's only getting started. Knowing that he has set off an unquenchable flame, Mitch leaves. Noah is sitting by himself in his room in the hospital, gazing at his mirror. He looks back at his restored visage, hardly recognizing himself. Sienna's panicked cry as the car drifted off the road. The passion, the guilt, and the crash all flashed through his head once more. Then there was stillness. He was unconscious. Sienna's terrified voice, "We have to lie, Noah," follows the flashback of her pulling him from the debris. His stomach turns. No one can ever know. He had assured her that he would keep it a secret. But now that Mitch is out there, it's just a matter of time until everything is revealed. Sienna, meanwhile, is pacing her office at the Bacall Club. When her phone buzzes, she receives a message from an unidentified number. The exact picture that Mitch showed Nick is included. "You thought you buried your sins, but I've got the shovel." Her blood is icy. "Oh my God," she murmurs. She is certain of the sender. She tries to call Mitch, but he doesn't pick up, and panic takes control. Rather, "Meet me at the docks," is the second message that shows up. "It is midnight. Come by yourself." Sienna is aware that she is putting herself in danger, but she also knows that she cannot afford to avoid it. It's over if Mitch reveals her and Noah. The club, her reputation, and her meticulously crafted identity will all fall apart. Even worse, Noah's life will be ruined. Nick returns home as the night grows dark, his temper still raging and his knuckles damaged. He's already spiraling out of control when Sharon tries to reach him. Sharon, he has an advantage over Noah. I could see the expression in his eyes. Shaken, Sharon begs him to calm down, saying, "He's not bluffing. If there is evidence, we will address it." However, Nick is irrational. Violence is not the solution. "I refuse to allow another Matt Clark to destroy this family." His comments reverberate around the living room, a somber reminder of the troubled past between the Clarks and the Newmans. "Not again." Sienna shows there at midnight, shivering, desperate, and resolute in the chilly light of the docks. The dim harbor lights highlight Mitch's grin as he emerges from the darkness. He responds dryly, "You made it." Sienna's voice trembles. "I didn't think you had the guts." "Mitch, what do you want?" He throws the folder at her feet. "The reality. Recognize your actions, or I'll make sure that everyone in Genoa City is aware of it before dawn." Sienna crouches and turns the pages, which include bank transactions, accident reports, emails, and the most damning picture of all, her and Noah in bed. When she realizes how completely he has cornered her, her hands shake. She murmurs, "You were supposed to be dead." Mitch moves in closer, his voice icy. "Receipts are not kept by dead folks. Didn't you make sure of that? However, you overlooked the fact that I always have a backup plan." When Noah returns to the hospital, his restlessness becomes intolerable. He can't get rid of the suspicion that Sienna is in danger. Despite the nurse's objections, he takes his jacket and slips out. Flashbacks of Sienna sobbing, the sound of tires screeching, the crash, and the smell of smoke hit him as he speeds through the night towards the docks. He remembers everything for the first time. That evening he was driving. The collision was a careless, impetuous act motivated by betrayal and guilt, rather than an accident. To keep him safe, Sienna covered it up. Noah witnesses Mitch thrusting the folder into Sienna's hands when he eventually arrives at the docks. Mitch sneers, "You're done." But Noah rushes forward and pushes Mitch back before he can say another word. "Go away from her." Mitch chuckles ominously. "Oh, this is perfect." Noah clenches his fists, prepared to hit, but Sienna intervenes, yelling, "Stop." The guilty lover shows up perfectly on cue. "Please." Her face is dripping with tears. "Noah, he knows everything. Unless, of course, you two confess first," Mitch teases, tilting his head. "He's going to ruin us." As Mitch takes out his phone to make the call that will put an end to their relationship, the altercation descends into anarchy. However, Noah grabs it and tosses it into the ocean before he can dial. With clenched teeth, Noah declares, "No more lies." Mitch glares and advances, saying, "No more games." Nick arrives in time to take Mitch away from his son and slam him against a container. "I warned you not to approach my family," Nick yells. As Sharon phones the police, the dock erupts into a whirlwind of shouts and distant sirens. As the flashing lights get closer, Mitch chuckles bitterly. "Newman, it's too late. The truth has already been revealed, and somewhere in the shadows, a secret camera light blinks red, recording every utterance, blow, and confession. Genoa City will be fully informed by morning. Although Noah's bandages have been removed, the scars he still has will always follow him. The horizon is painted in orange and gray striations as the early morning light bleeds over Genoa City like a bruise, delicate but menacing. Police are swarming the docks, sirens wailing. A smashed phone, ripped documents from Mitch's incriminating folder floating across the pier, and the lingering effects of last night's altercation are all strewn about. Nick watches over Noah, who is shaking but making an effort to remain composed. His eyes are sunken, his face is pallid, and his once healing confidence has completely disappeared. Sienna is a complete mess, her hands trembling and her makeup smudged as she tightens her cloak around her torso. Only the weight of terror and shame remains after the adrenaline that got her through the night has subsided. Detective Chance Chancellor shows up with a somber yet composed demeanor. He opens his notes and adds, "We have witnesses saying there was a fight." "I'm assuming you didn't come down here for a stroll," Nick says, crossing his arms and gazing at the area where EMTs are tending to Mitch Clark. Nick snarls, "He was threatening my son. Chance, that man has been torturing this family for decades. His goal was to ruin Noah." Chance reads the tension like a book as he looks between Nick, Sienna, and Noah. He responds cautiously, "We'll figure out who was threatening who." However, it appears that Mitch wasn't lying when he claimed to have proof. A flash drive was discovered floating close to the dock by my officers. Forensics will determine whether anything can be recovered. Sienna goes into mute fear at the mention of the flash drive. She knows exactly what's on it, which makes her heart race in her chest. Private chats, bank transactions, and recordings demonstrate how she concealed the canyon disaster. Noah now vividly recalls the same crash in terrible detail. With a shaky voice, Noah opens his mouth. "Detective, if there's evidence, you'll see that I'm the one who..." Nick abruptly interrupts. "Don't say another word, son," Sharon says as she dashes in from the hospital. When she sees her son surrounded by turmoil and police tape, her eyes enlarge. "Oh my God, Noah!" She pulls him into her arms as she sobs. "What took place?" Noah doesn't respond. He is unable to, because what he did after the crash is what's bothering him, not just the memory of it. How he let Sienna to bear the responsibility. How, while hiding behind forgetfulness and quiet, he allowed her to control the truth. Even Sharon's hug won't be able to shake the chill that has taken hold of his bones. The guilt is smothering him. As paramedics bandage Mitch's arm, he smirks despite being injured and covered in blood. He chuckles grimly and advises the EMT, "Don't waste your sympathy. This town is devoted to its saints." His eyes stray to Noah and Sienna. "But saints always have sins buried deep. And I just dug them up." Mitch does not object when Chance gestures for his officers to take him to the station so he can be questioned. Rather, he launches one last jab at Nick. "Newman, you can beat me down all you want, but you'll wish I had stayed dead when that evidence becomes public." Nick makes another move, but Sharon catches his arm. "Enough!" Her voice breaks as she snaps. "Nick, we can't battle him with fists. We must keep Noah safe." Noah's face is filled with humiliation as he looks at his parents. He is aware that the truth is already eluding them. "It's too late, Mom," he murmurs to himself, barely audible. Tension permeates the Newman ranch by the time daylight fully arrives. Stone-faced, Victor Newman sits in the living room and reads the initial police report that Chance forwarded. It's unnerving how silent he is. In the otherwise quiet chamber, every tick of the grandfather clock feels like thunder. At last, Nikki stands by the hearth and says something. "Victor, speak up." Victor carefully lowers the file. "My grandson was involved in a cover-up," he says in a slow, deliberate voice. "A vehicle accident, fabricated reports, and—" He stops, his teeth clenched. "An affair with that woman, Sienna Bacall." Nikki winces. "Victor, he has endured so much." He was unable to recall what had occurred. Victor punches the desk with his fist. He had enough memories. His voice reverberates like a cannon explosion across the property. As a Newman and my grandson, he had an obligation to be honest. Rather, he let that viper to control him. "Victor, he's young," Nikki begs quietly. "Yes, he made mistakes, but he can yet be saved." However, as the patriarch of a dynasty as well as a grandfather, Victor is already plotting. He grabs his phone and makes a call. "Michael Baldwin. I urgently need you at the ranch. Our legal situation is dire." Meanwhile, news of the dock altercation quickly travels at Crimson Lights. Phyllis virtually rushes to Sharon's table after hearing a brief portion of Chance's radio call. She gasps, "Please tell me this isn't true." Sienna and Noah? Proof. A brawl with Matt Clark. Sharon massages her temples, clearly frightened. "It's true," she murmurs. "But we still don't know how bad things will get." Phyllis gives a disbelieving shake of her head. "Matt Clark? That crazy person? How many times has he passed away? And he's returned? How can that man be permanently killed?" A mixture of grief and rage flashes in Sharon's eyes. Matt is no longer the focus. It has to do with what he discovered. Noah's recalling stuff. And if he's correct, then... She falters, her eyes welling with tears. Phyllis puts a hand over Sharon's as she softens. "Hi. Noah is a decent youngster. Anything may have been influenced by Matt Clark's deranged mind. Don't allow him to ruin you once more." Sharon gives a feeble nod, but the reality weighs heavily on her. She is aware that Matt revealed something genuine this time, rather than making anything up. And the consequences can be disastrous. Sienna ends up seated in the Genoa City police interrogation room later that afternoon. As Chance places a flash drive on the table, her eyes dart about anxiously. He says simply, "Recovered from the dock. Would you mind describing what's on it?" Sienna's mouth quivers. "These are private business records. Nothing is against the law." Chance doesn't even blink. "So if our tech team opens it, won't that bother you?" Sienna loses her cool. She holds onto the table's edge. "Please, Chance. You're not understanding. It was an accident that evening. Noah didn't intend to." Chance jerks forward. "Sienna didn't mean to what?" It's clear from her quiet. She also understands for the first time that there is no way out. Every lie she has ever uttered is about to fall apart as Mitch's retaliation has come full circle. Sienna hides her face in her hands and murmurs, "It wasn't supposed to end like this," as the cops go to examine the files. In the meantime, Noah is sitting in the Newman Ranch study with trembling hands while Victor looks down at him like a judge giving a verdict. Victor commands, "Look me in the eye." Noah makes an effort to look his grandfather in the eye. "Did you conceal a crime?" Victor asks softly. Noah takes a deep breath. "Grandpa, it wasn't like that. I couldn't recall. I was stunned. I was to blame for the crash. I was going too fast. I wasn't thinking. Sienna made an effort to shield me." Victor's voice becomes a perilous murmur. "By deceiving the authorities? By fabricating proof?" Noah gives a pitiful nod. "Yes." After that, the silence is intolerable. Victor then gets up and walks over to the window. "Are you aware of the implications for our family name? 4 Newman businesses? Every gossip, every scandal, it all comes back to me. The media will now have a blast with this." Nikki gently steps in, saying, "Victor, please. He is your grandson." Victor makes a fast turn. "He also made a number of careless, immoral decisions as an adult. Instead of cowardice and dishonesty, I created my family on strength and honor." Noah's voice breaks. "I realize I made a mistake.